with a lot of bass players using more and more fingers, 3 and 4, sometimes even 5, trying to get more and more speed out of their finger style plucking. Is there a way to use less fingers and sometimes get even more speed? There is, with some of that. Now, all joking aside, you don't have to use this finger. I find it the most practical. But a new kind of approach to using a single finger stroke has started popping up. It isn't super recent, but I'm starting to see a lot more players use it. And whether you use it all the time or just occasionally, it's definitely something to add to your repertoire, your bag of tricks, because it has a great effect and it just works, and with very little practice. This is going to be the single finger stroke, and it's basically using your finger a lot like a pick. Getting something like very simple, back and forth. But if you have conventional 3-finger plucking, and then this, you can get basically the same amount of speed with just that one finger going back and forth. It's actually pretty easy to do. It's a relaxed thing, with the irony being the more relaxed you are with it, the faster it goes and the easier. So here's a couple of things I've noticed about how it's applied, and a couple of players that I see picking up on it, and you can watch them and see when they choose to use it and how, and what the differences in sound are in between using just the single finger and multiple finger plucking, because there is going to be a difference. So you may just want to use this as a tonal option or for a different feel. The first time I saw it used was Geddy Lee. He's been using it for a number of years, going all the way back into the 90s. After that, I saw a couple of players pick up on it, but the most recent one I've seen actually was Robert Trujillo from Metallica. I'm going to info card up a link to a video of them recently, where if you check out his hand, that's what he's doing to keep up with the guitars. Another player I've seen use this is Brian Beller. I think he uses the approach in Death Clock once in a while because he can get that single finger stroke going even faster than his 3-finger approach. He's no slouch, so that's when I started checking it out and going, maybe there is something to the approach and it has some benefits. It's really simple, again, to get this thing started. The more relaxed you do it, and the more you kind of just allow your finger to drag back and forth a little bit, getting this. If you tighten up, it becomes harder. Your finger's going to start to drag and it's going to choke. It's easier the more relaxed you are. You can get real simple. Again, stay relaxed, allow your finger to drag a little bit. It's really all you need to know about it. You can go over your scales, do multi-string things, practice with it, and you can use it across all strings. You can jump strings with it. It just takes a little getting used to, but it's really just not that hard. And it can offer you something to bump up speed when you need it with really almost zero effort. Now, the other part about doing it is you're going to notice that this has a different sound, and it's useful in that way too. If you listen to straight 3-finger or 2-finger plucking, it has a different tone from the straight back and forth because there's a very slight rest stroke in between each of the fingers as they hit. And what do I mean by that? That there's a draw down in volume or almost a muting of the note right before you hit the next one. So even if I'm just allowing all the notes to ring out, you get something like this. Now hear it with the single stroke. Notice how these sound just slightly more abbreviated. At faster tempos, it's more pronounced. This one is more pick-like when you're using it because it's basically like a pick, but you get a more legato, almost an even flow of a sound just with individual hits as you're striking, whereas with your fingers, you get more of a punch, punch, punch type of sound where there's a slight, almost gap of sound in between. So this allows you not to just use this single finger idea for speed, but for a different type of tone that lets you carry a more consistent, longer bottom rather than more punctuated notes. Again, the difference being versus. It's subtle, but I noticed especially on recordings, there's just a different feel. At higher tempos, it seems to make even more of a difference because when you get something like versus, there's almost a blur that goes through it rather than a more kind of hit, 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 again, punctuated type of idea. So it can offer a different flavor and a different sound where if you're going finger style, but you want to imitate a pick for just a minute, even at a slower tempo, and you want a smoother instead of a, if you want it just to smooth out or it just seems to fit style-wise, it's a great little piece to have in the bag. And again, if you're trying to bump up speed, being able to take one finger and just go absolutely batshit, and that's got a lot to it. I mean, you know, you never know. Maybe you bust a finger, something happens. It's just a great tool to have, and I've noticed other players pick up on it. So, great speed trick, interesting new sound, zero effort. Definitely something to add to your technique. So, speaking of finger plucking, I've got another video on the approaches to getting your 3-finger rotation. I'll put that at the end and info card it here, and also a video on how Billy Sheehan engineers his bass and his pickups to get more speed than he usually would out of his finger plucking by the way he approaches that. So check out those two and let me know your results. Check this out for a while, see if it works for you. And I'm going to be doing a few more lessons, some stuff on tapping and some things like that. Really simple ideas that can be worked in really quick is what I'm trying to focus on. But tell me some stuff you might want to see covered or approached down in the comments below. And again, tell me how it worked for you. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next lesson.